bring over our project that we're working on, making sure it was in frame. And then I just, you can just pour a little teeny bit in. Don't go crazy with it, because remember, you don't want it to overflow the sides. Just pour a little and let it flow where it's going to flow. I just don't want to put the pink on what we're not going to want pink on. Okay. Hope you can see. I hope my hands aren't in the way. Just fill them. All right, and once it's kind of spread out, and I don't want to pour it, I'll just scoop it in with my popsicle stick until it evens, just so I can have better control of how much is going in. Okay. Whoops. So now, you don't want them too full. And if they're too full, sometimes after they sit for a few moments, they will spill over. So you can just take your popsicle stick and just drag it across to get a little bit out. Just a little bit each time. This one's not super full, and I think once it's on a level surface, it's going to be fine. This one's a little empty. I'm going to fix that. And then let it sit for several hours to harden. I'm going to come back after the video and finish these. This is another one of the elephants that I did earlier. This is the little LED lights that I showed you guys last night. And they are like this big. They have these little stickers on the back with an arrow. I did remove that because I wasn't sure if the epoxy would cause that ink to bleed, and I didn't want like a pink tint floating out, so I did remove that sticker. I didn't remove the paper, but it's not that big of a deal. It's not going to go anywhere, I don't think. So when you do those lights, you're going to want a sticker or a decal that you maybe printed on white to be large enough to cover this up. And it so happened to have these poinsettias that were wide enough. So you're actually going to put it down like this, okay? But it doesn't matter for measuring how big it is. And those came from, if you like them, they came from Hobby Lobby. That's, again, I can't see the camera, so I'm hoping that's in frame. I think it is. All right, so that's what this is. These came from Craft Lighting Shop on Etsy. They were $1.15 each. And he shipped really quick. He messaged me. I told him that I was going to share his Etsy page with the group or the groups. And he wrote back saying he appreciated that. And if there's anything that you guys were looking for in particular, let him know. He has ordered some more lights. Apparently he's gotten a couple of orders since I've posted them. But if there's any colors in particular you're looking for, if you could email him, he'd try and find it for you. So I'm going to fill up one more because I don't want to waste this. And then I'm going to show you the next step. This one's really, I'll go ahead and do this one. And if you run out and you can't fill it up completely, you know, if it has a little bit missing, it's fine. But you don't want to overfill it, for sure. All right, I'm going to pause while I find something to slip under this so that it won't spill as I move it. And then we're going to show you one more step. Okay, I'm back. So now we're going to talk about putting a nice finish on the back of your piece. I have this little puppy paw that I'm going to show you how to do that. So I was talking about different ways to color your epoxy earlier, and you can use alcohol ink. I even saw someone when I was watching the videos that used colorant that you would use when you're making cakes. Okay, you can use that. I like this a whole lot. It's the dye from Illuminate. Hobby Lobby does sell some colors. In my store, they did not have white. I ordered this from illuminate.com, and there was actually a coupon code out that Heather had gotten, and she has another one now. So if you're in Tumblr tutorials, look her video up and you can get the code. I can't remember what it was. I don't think she'd care if I give it. Still benefits their company, so I think it's "'Tis the Season 15," but I'm not sure. And it might be in all capitals or something. I just didn't pay attention. I don't normally order from them because people talk about getting a gallon of it from Illuminate, and I'm not trying to be ugly, but it's cheaper if you go to Hobby Lobby and get 4 of the 32 ounce sets, or yeah, 2, or I don't know how many you'd have to get. My brain's not working. It's cheaper, even with 15% off. So, all right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put the nice finish back, like this. So it gives it a little bit of a more rounded look. Another thing too, I'm thinking of it, when you're doing your molds, if you have any that gets along the edges, clean it off. If you can, just take your popsicle stick and scrape it back in. Otherwise, you're going to have these little edges. You can file them down with some sandpaper. It's not that big of a deal. But if you have any big pieces, you're definitely going to want to take care of those. Again, I don't want to waste. I still need to do those other 2, so I'm going to just get another little cup and pour a tiny bit in here. Try to get enough, because if you run out and have to mix more, the chances of getting the same color white are going to be slim and none. So, a little bit more. All right, so I put about that much in for 1. I think that's going to be plenty. All right, now with this dye, if you have not used it, it's real easy for this stuff to take over, particularly the darker colors. You know, you can get a bunch of different shades of blue. I'm reaching for one. This is the ocean blue. And then, hold on, I'm going to show you one more ocean blue. That's also ocean blue. But it was the first time I had made it, and I just poured a bunch in there, and it is so dark you can't see through it. So you can get a wide range of colors with this stuff. But I just usually start with a little drop. Now, when I did these, and I used a little tiny drop of the this dye, just so it wouldn't be so clear looking. I wanted it to be a little opaque. And actually, I'm going to show you guys here. There's like a little divot right there. I'm not sure if you can see it. That was an air bubble. So these were like the first couple I made, so I didn't know what I was doing. All these little chunks that are missing, those were air bubbles. So you want to check your edges, make sure there's no air bubbles, because if not, it's going to look funky like that one does. I don't think anybody would notice it, but I notice it. So when I'm doing the dome, you want it to be nice and opaque so you can use a little more. So I'm going to do a full drop. On the other puppy paw, I let it form a drop, and then I took my toothpick and just kind of let it go back in and took my toothpick and wiped it off just to get a teeny bit. But on this, I'm going to just put a drop. Okay, mix it up. And make sure you mix it good, because you're going to see those lines. And actually, I did stir this quite fast. This one, you will want to make sure that it doesn't have a bunch of air bubbles in it, because they're going to show. So I got a little crazy. So that's pretty much opaque, and I'm thinking it's going to be just fine. So what you're going to do is, I usually hold it. Let me put a little bit on there. Just scoop some. I'm going to make sure this is in frame. It is. All right, you're going to scoop some on there. I just kind of let it drizzle. And something this large, you can probably just pour a little tiny bit. You don't want to put too much because it's going to run over the edges if you do. And on these ornaments, they have like a little bit of a ridge right here. So that's going to help keep that epoxy in. And what I do is kind of spread it out, but I just scrape the popsicle stick along the edge to help spread it out. I'm going to go all the way around. You want to be a little more careful than I'm being. I'm just trying to not take all day to show you guys. You can kind of tell right there that it's might not be quite dark enough, or enough white in it. White's not dark, but you know what I'm saying. So just kind of go all the way around, helping it spread. And I'm actually pulling, I should have gotten a different popsicle stick because I'm pulling some unmixed epoxy in with this from using that same stick. So that's another thing. You live and learn, or you make mistakes and you learn from them. So, all right. The reason I kind of get the edges first is because it'll kind of let the epoxy know where I want it to go. And then I kind of build up from there. And I just drizzle it on so that I have more control. And I'm going to try and zoom the camera in so you can maybe perhaps see better. I don't want to really pick it up too much from here. Get the epoxy off my fingers before I touch my screen. Hopefully this works. And I'll move it so can y'all see that? I believe you would be able to. All right. So again, just drizzle a little bit on. And I kind of go around, particularly where I got the uncolored epoxy, and just kind of let it build up a little bit. It's going to make a nice little dome for the back, and it is much nicer. I didn't do this to my mermaid keychains because I mix those glitters as I go, and no two batches are going to be the same. I don't use my pre-mixed chunky for those, so I didn't dome any of them. I learned about the doming after I started making them anyway. But they're fun. I tend to fill the mermaids up a little more so they're kind of domed already. Alright, so that's it. And then you just let that sit. If you're using the Amazing Clear Cast, you're going to let it sit in cure like you would anything else. I did get some of the 10-minute cure time. It dries white. So I'm probably going to use that when I do the back of the hearts that we made today, just because it'll be much faster and it'll be worth mixing up a batch. I didn't feel like it was worth mixing up a batch just to do one little dog paw, so I showed you how to color it. Or maybe you don't want to buy 2 different products. That's certainly a valid reason to show you how to mix your color. I'm not sure what else you could use for white. Maybe acrylic paint. I haven't used it. I'm just mentioning it because I've seen other people mix acrylic paint with epoxy. So if you have other ideas, there is a white mixative in the alcohol inks. I'm trying to remember if I tried that or not. I don't think I did, since I had this Illuminate dye. I think I just went straight for the dye. But again, you don't want to fill it up too much, but you can just kind of drip it on there to help build the dome up. And then check the sides to see if there's any that's leaked over. And if it is, you can just take a maybe I probably would squirt alcohol on a Q-tip so that the fur from the Q-tip won't get into, or the cotton won't get into your epoxy, and just kind of run the Q-tip along the edges. So that's it. That's how you do it. And I'm going to try and move this. And one last thing we're going to show is how to put the eye hook in. So I'm going to pause one more time. Stand by. Okay, so I am back, and we're going to put the eye hook in the ornament. Now, there's a bunch of different size eye hooks that you can get. I usually just grab them at Hobby Lobby. I haven't ordered any of those. I don't think I've ordered any of those from Amazon. You can get these from Hobby Lobby in the section that has woodworking. I got, I'm upside down. I got these from Home Depot. They're a little more sturdy. They have a little more butt to them. They won't bend and everything. These are cheesy as crap. They'll bend real easy. But for the keychains, I've been using these because they're a little more durable. But for these little ornaments, I'm just going to use one of those. Then I got a Hobby Lobby. Alright, so when I do the mermaid keychains, I usually catch those as soon as they come out of the mold, when they're still pliable, and I just push the little eye screw in and twist it. And you know, epoxy is a glue, so I don't, you know, it'll dry around it and it'll be fine. These, it's kind of hard to do since I'm putting the backing on, and they're a little bit of a pain in the butt unless you're really good with power tools, which I'm not. So let me make sure I'm in frame, and I am. So you're going to just get right where the heart at the very top, and go really slow. Now with these, I discovered if you are not careful, it's going to make this part bulge out. And what I normally do is just keep going in the hole to get all the epoxy out of it. Make sure it's clean. And I blow it to see. Yep, it looks clean. If you don't, that's just going to be extra stuff inside. And when you put your screw in, it's going to just be more inside to make this stuff bulge. These are cured well. The other night when I did them, they weren't super cured, and that's what made the back bulge, I believe. We'll find out in a minute. So if you notice when you put this in, it's not going to be tight. going to be kind of floppy around. I'm going to pause for a second because I'm going to make this hole a little deeper. Hold on. Okay. I think I made the hole too deep. I'm not a carpenter, but it's okay. I use, I don't really like E6000 because I just don't like it. It's too stringy and it gets everywhere, but for some things it's fine for me. See how that string is? I can't stand it. And plus the top's lock on, you can't get the darn things off. So I just dip the screw in, and then another reason I don't like it is because it squirts out, it oozes out the end. I usually use this glue I got at Hobby Lobby, but I don't even know where it is. I think it's in my car, which is probably not the best place for it. So again, clean out your hole, then find the hole and just stick that little screw in. And I kind of move it around a little bit to make sure all the sides are coated. There you have it. It's easy as pie, and just put it somewhere to dry. That drill bit's a little bit big for these tiny little eye hooks. Normally you'd want some resistance, and I think I might have been moving the drill bit, which made the whole, the circumference of it larger too. But it's the smallest bit I have, and we do what we can with what we have, right? I think that's everything. I can't think of anything I've left out. If you have any questions, you can drop a comment. I'm happy to help you. If there's something else you want to see, let me know. If I know how to do it, I'll show you. All right, everyone. Thanks for spending a couple minutes with me, and I hope this has helped someone. Have a great afternoon.